but it don't mean that I'm in love. I like you a lot, but you gotta step up. I'm through trying to tell you.
Okay, you can go first.
Okay, fine. So a few years ago, and we were together. It was the kind of lockdown, I guess. So everything was more prominent in lockdown, wasn't it? And we ended up living together really unexpectedly. It was a weird world, just spending a lot of time with people in one space.
How old was you?
So about 3 years ago.
Okay.
25.
Okay, I forget you're younger than me and you lived with him. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, only because of lockdown. It wasn't like a plan. But it meant I was working at home with him and he was also working at home as well. So we were together all of the time and it was fun. Like, I baked, I found stuff to do. We were all making banana bread. There was lots of different things that happened. But the breakup specifically with this person was just really horrible because it was really unexpected. Okay. I think with like a first love, you can expect it. Things happen. We had time apart. We went back together. This one, it was just random one day. So we're on Christmas time and he buys me lovely Christmas presents, like Pandora heart earrings. And we've been together a year and he's never said the L word.
That's crazy. He was a fearful avoidant. Because we don't like to say that.
I don't think he ever got there with me. And 8 months in, maybe 7 months in, it came up, like, we haven't said it yet. And he's like, at the minute, I don't feel like I'll get there. But do you, I think it just, he'd been married previously.
What?
Yeah.
This just gets deeper and deeper.
And he said, maybe it's just going to take me more time because you're the first girl since, a divorce. And I was like, that totally makes sense, doesn't it? So yeah, I'll be fine. I'll wait a year for you to love me.
But he said he doesn't think he'll get there or he thinks it'll take him a while. Which one?
Both. He kind of said, on one hand, he said, I don't think I'll get there. And it ended up after 7 months, we broke up. But then the next day he called me and was like, I've made a mistake. I will get there. It's just going to take me time. So we stayed together for 3 or 4 more months. And then the inevitable happens because I think it always does. When that happens, I think it always happens eventually, doesn't it? So yeah, unreal Christmas presents. And I'm like, this is going to be it. Like love heart earrings, the Dyson Airwrap and hairdryer. Like he'd spent loads. Not that matters, but also my birthday is the 2nd of Jan and I got really thoughtful gifts as well. His family buying me gifts. Now I'll never forget the moment that on the 26th of December, we invite like my mum and stepdad round for dinner and we're all kind of dancing in the kitchen. We've had a few drinks and she goes, oh, look at you lovebirds in the kitchen. Look at you both, like so in love. Because like on the outside, I guess it looked like that.
Would that make you two feel awkward because you don't say that you love each other?
So yeah, so I was like, I was too embarrassed to tell my family that you hadn't said I love you yet because it's been a year.
You live together?
Yeah, like you've got to love someone by then. I knew it wasn't right.
But did you love him? Was you just saying it because was you just not saying it because he hadn't said it? And did you feel it but you didn't want to say it and then him not say it? Like what was the why? Did you both not say it?
Hindsight, I don't think I did.
You don't think you did?
Hindsight. But in the moment, there were times when I was like, yeah. But no, I don't think it was fully right. But I really liked him a lot.
Yeah, and I do respect that he didn't say it because some people just say it for the sake of it. I think I would just say it for the sake of it. But I made a rule to myself that if somebody says they can't see themselves marrying me, they can't see themselves loving me, they can't see a relationship with me, it is done for me.
Sian, I love that. Like, good for you because that's what I would do now. Mm-hmm. And that's why this person was a lesson, which we'll talk about in breakups because it's always a lesson, isn't it?
Yeah, always.
Because I turned to him when my mum said that and I said, oh, if only she knew. And like he was like, stop it, like we've had an amazing time, how can you not see how I feel about you? I've bought you this, we've done this, you're living with me, I've spent Christmas with you and my family, like just leave it, like meaning like stop the conversation. So I was like, yeah, stop it, Daisy, you're ruining something. But looking back, like that was just to push it out the way.
Yeah, and I know couples that haven't said it for like 3 or 4 years.
Do you?
But then they got married, so they obviously do love each other, but they just don't know how to say it. I think they both say, like, we just don't like to say it, like, we just feel awkward about saying it. Not that, his reasoning is really hard. I think that's really hard to go for 3 or 4 months thinking this boy's never going to end up loving me.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. You know what it was? Someone that should be the perfect person on paper. So he knew our family. He was a family friend at the time. We knew him very well. Everyone knew him as a mate in a relationship, and people were like, this is it. If you meet someone like him, that's it, Daisy, because they're a relationship guy. They don't mess around. So you think, well, on paper, he's the guy that everyone's telling me is great. And I think that's the problem when lots of external people get involved. Because if this was some random dude I'd met on Tinder and I didn't know much about his background and after a year he hadn't loved me yet, then I would be more...
And I think people that are in relationships only want their single friends and single family members to be happy. But honestly, you've got to stop putting an expectation on us when we meet somebody. Everybody I meet, my friends go, I love him. I love him. Okay, but that's not going to make me feel any better when it ends or when it's not right, or then you're telling me that I'm making the wrong choice by ending it. Just let us live, and like we let you live with your relationship, because we haven't found them yet. So let us make our own decision. And I know you're happy for us, and I know you want us to meet somebody, but it's not making it any easier for us with these opinions.
The external factors make a big difference. How a friend can be like, no, but he's done this and this for you, and you know, compared to your ex, look how great he's been. And that isn't always a good comparison, because if your ex has been absolutely rubbish, then just because he's a little bit better,
5% better.
Deep down, you always know in the gut. The whole year, I knew in my gut that he wasn't quite right.
So how did it fully end?
So we're on around the 10th, something like that, of January. So a few weeks after the Christmas, which had been rocky. It had been rocky. Like, he was picking on me for random arguments, which is when you know someone isn't into you as well.
Everything is annoying them about you.
I spill a drop of Baileys on his sofa and he hit the roof. Like, I'm talking, it was like I'd literally like said something awful about his mother, or he hit the roof. And then New Year's Eve, right, I'm working and I get back in time for the evening, so 7 p.m. And he's roasted like a lamb in the garden all day long. So I'm like, look at this man. Yeah, this is what I want. Like, he's made me dinner all day, has been in the kitchen. So at dinner, we start to talk about stuff. And I'm like, he's quite a lot older than me at this point. So I guess he's like more 34, 35. And he had always made it clear how much he wanted kids. So kids came up. We've only been together a year, but I was kind of letting him know that if he really wanted them, I'd be willing to have them sooner than maybe he thought I would because of my age. He hit the roof.
He hit the roof?
Yeah, because we started talking about a baby and I was like, do you feel like that's something you'd want in the next like 2-3 years? And he was like, why are we talking about this? And I was like, well, I'm your girlfriend of a year. And he was like, why are we talking about this? And he was like, he slammed the knife fork down and he said, for God's sake, Daisy, you always ruin everything. This 35-year-old man locked himself in his upstairs toilet to calm himself down.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. And because me and Daisy are so opposite and we go for opposite men, I've never had this sort of treatment from a man.
Really?
Yeah, if there's a problem in a relationship, it was usually me. I'm speechless at that. That is crazy. What a grown little baby. No wonder he doesn't want children yet. He's a little baby himself. Cry baby. In the toilet. Silly. What the hell?
I was literally like, how do I... And then I'm like, I'm not going to like tiptoe around this man. I'm like, after a year, it's normal to have a conversation about that kind of thing, right? I'm living in your house. I'm not saying I want your babies. I'm just saying, can you see it happening?
How would it all make you feel though when he's going mad at tiny little things like this?
Oh my God, at this point I was like, something's not right. He obviously doesn't like me because I've spilled a tiny bit of Baileys on his sofa and it's hit the roof. Like, this isn't, I love Baileys. this isn't normal. But then like the next day he'd be like, oh, do you want to do this with my family? And we could do this on, Christmas Eve. And he made it very hot and cold, I guess. But I don't think he was aware of that. So come around the 10th of January, we spend a weekend together and I'm not very well on the Sunday. And I was like, I don't know whether to call in sick to work. I'm really not well. And he just couldn't care less. He's just like, do what you want to do. And I'm like, can I stay here for the night if I don't go back to Leeds? Because I just don't, I'll text the manager now. He doesn't care. I'm thinking, you get an extra night with me and we're doing a bit of long distance occasionally. So why does he not really care that I'm really not feeling well? And he was like, don't really mind. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to Leeds. I don't want to be here. I'd rather be ill in Leeds with my best mate, who I lived with at the time. It's very confusing. We were between lockdowns. So I was between two spaces. Yeah. So I was like, she'll look after me better than him. So I went back, and I didn't hear from my boyfriend for 4 days that week.
Oh my goodness, what a walking red flag he is. No wonder he's divorced.
So, yeah, it is funny that he's divorced, because after they divorced, very quickly she found someone else and had a baby with him. And sometimes I think women must just be like, oh, this is what it's meant to feel like, and do it all very quickly. So that week, on like the Wednesday, I'm ringing his stepmum. Like, I'm actually worried. He lives alone. Has he fallen down the stairs?
Has he got himself locked in the bathroom and he is starved to death?
Do you know what I mean?
He couldn't get out. He's been crying for days.
Honestly. So I go home on a Thursday night. He's barely spoken to me. He's apologised a little bit. I've been really busy and tired. I had a key, obviously, to his house at this point. I get home on Thursday night, go in, and I was like, he's either breaking up with me, he's cheated on me, or something really is not right. I walk in, he comes down the stairs, he runs downstairs, and he's like, I just need to talk to you. I'm like, oh my God, who have you shagged? Bearing in mind, this is my different kind of type. He's not the kind of geekier man. Sorry, he is the kind of geekier man. Okay. He's not like the typical Essex Love Island guy that I go for. So I'm like, surely he's not cheating on me, because this kind of guy is the family man, the one on paper, right? That everyone says.
Never think that, guys. The geeks will cheat on you. You'll find out in a minute.
Yeah. And you didn't even know this story. Oh, so he sits me down and he's like, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't do it. I don't love you. That's very clear. I can see that I'm never going to love you. So I'm like,
Daisy, this is so sad.
Yeah, it is actually. I'm never going to love you. So I'm sat there, and obviously 25 is pretty young, I think, for this. Like,
so young. Well, you were young to get with somebody that was divorced, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. So we're going through it. I don't really get an answer. I text my sister. She's like, come round, have the pizza. And I'm heartbroken. Like, I'm crying. Like, I'm like, what's just... And this out the blue. You don't get someone love heart earrings on the 25th of December and then, 15 days later. Anyway, what I haven't mentioned here is the week that he's been ignoring me, my granddad had passed away. So it's the same week that I'm dealing with... Yeah, it's the same week I'm dealing with a grieving family as well. I'd normally go to my mum, but she's grieving her dad. Mm-hmm. It was a really, really difficult time in that sense.
Like lonely?
Yeah. My best friend took everything, bless her. Like everything. Owe me getting through that to her and her only, really. And so he wanted to break up with me the 4 days before ignoring me, but it was because my granddad had passed. He was like, it wasn't the right time. So we delayed it a week, which kind of get it. Anyway, a week later, I travel back from Leeds and I've got a bag full of his stuff in Leeds to bring back to his house, which is 2.5 hours away. So I'm like, I text him and I get no reply. One ticks all day, but I'm like, he's always in on a Sunday. I'll just knock on his door and drop it off. So I get to the door and there's a new Audi on the drive. And I'm like, I know his sister wanted an Audi. And I'm like, oh, your sister got the new car. He answered the door so shady. And he's like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Gave him the bag, cool, bye. Like, he didn't say, like, I'm so sorry and I hope you're doing all right, nothing. I went to my auntie's and I was like, this isn't right. I'm having a cup of tea and I was like, that's a girl's car. That is a girl's car.
I can't believe this story. I can't believe this story.
Anyway, it took about 3 weeks of me just being like, what's happened? I've messaged his friends, like, who is it? What's happened? He rings me 3 weeks later and he says, yeah, my first love from when I was 20 years old, the girl he was with before his marriage, it's her.
How do you still have something in common with her? If my ex came back now, I'd be like, hello, what should we speak about? We haven't seen each other for 10 years.
Yeah.
What? And it was her Audi outside?
Her Audi outside.
How did that happen so quickly, though? Did he cheat?
I don't know the info, but obviously, yeah, because that's a week later and the Audi's on the drive. Do you know what I mean? I could smell the roast dinner as he opened the door.
The lamb. Oh, just to let you know, don't bring up children because he'll lock himself in the bathroom. Bye.
No, 6 months later, they're having a kid.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting, without giving too much personal information away about other people, but his wife had said previously to someone I know, he will never love anyone the way he loved
His
the
first
first love.
love.
So she always felt that in their relationship, and they were together 10 years and married.
That was a crazy story.
We're full of them.
We really are.
And if you want to hear more, you can like, subscribe and follow us at Daisy Dates Podcast.